Welcome back to Hometown TCG. I am John, and we are getting right into a deck tech today. So I'm excited about this one. We're going to go into a Katsu deck, one of the originals here. And I'm going to lay it out, the main deck, and then the side deck, kind of discuss the cards and things I'm looking for as I'm playing the deck. So here we go. So the point of this Katsu deck is going to offer you some versatility to be able to tackle a wide open meta like we're kind of facing right now. You see, in the last ProQuest, there were 5, maybe 6, I think it was 5 different heroes in the top 8. And we also know there were other heroes that were X1s that could have easily made the top 8, lost on tiebreakers. So you have a ton of different heroes that are viable right now. And your goal here is going to be as consistent as possible. Because when you're Katsu, you want to be able to force cards out of your opponent's hand while chipping away damage. And when you draw into dead hands, you get to this point where you kind of lose your momentum and your opponent can take over. We have to avoid that, and we do it through our main deck, and then we have some side deck choices that can really tech against anyone right now. So I'm a fan of this deck. We're going to run the standard equipment set of your Kodachis, Mask of Momentum, Tunic, Breaking Scale, Snapdragon Scalers. Okay, so I know a lot of people are running the Heart and Cross Strap right now, and there are matches where it can be great against aggro decks, specifically against Chain. It was pretty good, but Chain is not as threatening now. I know there were some X1s in Dallas, but we'll see. But I do like this card because the block 1 on it is super important as well when you're playing other aggro decks, and it's just a significantly better card against control decks. So I am a fan there. Null Rune Gloves is against your Rune Blades. You're going to need this to beat Briar if you end up seeing them, for sure. Okay. So we're here. Some people are going to be like, Heart and Cross Strap is way better against control decks because it helps get you that extra pitch to get over the top. I'll talk about that at the end. Okay. Let's look into our basic attacks here. So Scar for a Scar, I just want to talk about this for 1 second. The reason I like this, other than your 0 cost 4 damage attack, which is great for getting over the top and it's 0 cost so it can be discarded with your power. Those are obvious. When you're playing, you want your opponent to have to guess at what you're doing. This card is great to open up with because your opponent doesn't always know what it is you have in your hand. If you have a Surging Strike to follow up your Scar for a Scar, they need to block this. Otherwise, you can search for the Whelming Gust Wave and be able to just have an insane turn where they're going to have to commit extra resources to blocking you like armor. Okay? But if you don't actually have that and they commit the resources to the Scar for a Scar and you just have, say, an E-Strike in your hand, well, you got resources out of their hand when you didn't actually need to because it was just damage. Okay, so Scar for a Scar not only has the damage and 0 cost factor, it's great for getting resources out of their hand. E-Strike is similar, a little more versatile, which is pretty great. I have a single Snatch in here. I have 3 total, but 1 in the main deck. I'll side the 3 in normally, but there are a couple matchups where I won't. I do love this card. The 4 damage hit effect is just so strong. Okay, looking at some more of my generics and stuff, we have our attack reaction suite. Razor Reflex, 3 Art of Wars, 3 Ancestrals, and we'll stick Plunder Run with them. So here's our modifiers and stuff. I'll say with Art of War, I do like running 3. I know some people will run less. I think it's so important to maintain the consistency. Just like I said in the beginning of this, as Katsu, you need to be able to keep up the pressure on your opponent. And if you let up, you can let them come back into the game. So this helps you not only sort through dead hands, the banished draw, it can also give you the go again on there, which will allow you to play out these like midline combo stuffs when you don't have a natural go again in your hand. So even more consistency there. And then just the threat of the +1 can be great on some of your combo stuff to get hit effects. Okay. But speaking of the combos, let's get into them. And we are going to be running Leg taps, I do only run red leg taps. I've played around with the yellow, and I think it's great to have more of those starters and things, but being a 3 block, the thing is, a lot of times you need your combo starters to hit or threaten a hit to get out additional resources like I keep talking about. And yellow leg tap just doesn't do that. So I don't like having it. Red rising knee thrust, I run 2 of those and I run 3 blues. The blues are pretty obvious because you need blues in your deck, and this is a great one since you have the combo anyway. Reds, I like 2. So there are times where I discard this from my hand because it's a 0 cost, or I have to block with something and I can block with it as a 3 block. So there are times where I lose one early on, but I know that throughout the game I'm probably going to hit with an attack that lets me search this out. So I want to have one in my deck available at all times. I don't like running 3 though, because it destroys some of your consistency with having too many of the mid-line combo pieces and not having that natural go again. So I play it right in the middle, and I find that's the best number. Now, this is funny because it seems like everyone's running one hurricane technique, one blackout kick these days. And I think everyone just started doing it around the same time, because I didn't do it when I was initially looking at Katsu lists. But I started doing this, I don't even know, maybe like end of spring or something, like end of blitz season sort of thing. I started playing this. I don't think anyone was playing Katsu then. But when we started to look into constructed, I was like, you know what, why don't I play one of each? Because the hurricane technique, yeah, it's great. If you can hit with this, it's so good. But against decks that have the armor to block you anyway, you just want to push through the extra damage and get that chip damage in that blackout kick can give you. So this card really is what you're looking for against control kind of decks. Hurricane technique is better against aggro. I don't have the room to play 2 of each and side them out, so I just play 1 of each and search out what I need to. Okay? Surging Strike, this is your main line. Obviously, this is kind of your win condition a lot of times. Play the yellows because they're 4s and they threaten the search go again much better than, say, a yellow leg tap. I played 2 Magenshi's main deck and 1 side deck. Again, I don't want too many midline combo pieces. I'll side a 3rd in if I know I need to take a lot of attempts at the combo. But generally, if you can get this combo off, you win the game. And against control decks, you for sure win the game, because then you're shuffling. You hit Lord of Wind and you shuffle in 3 Whelmings, 3 Surging, and they just don't have enough cards to block you out at that point. And they lose their fatigue win condition. Yeah, you're pretty much just trying to set this up. So you're not always trying to spam it out there as soon as you get a piece. Sometimes you just have to arsenal and wait until you really have it, when you have an attack reaction or when you draw some of the combo pieces naturally, sort of thing. Crane Dance, I'm running 3 blues. It was this or Flusterfist blue. And Flusterfist obviously does 1 more damage, but I do have Fine Center in the side deck, and I like having the upside of being able to threaten that combo. And Flusterfist red is just as a searcher for a 4 damage attack. If I don't have a combo, it's a good finisher here, 0 for 4. Okay, this could be a Pounding Gale if you find that works better, but I like having the 0 cost myself. Okay, so this is our main deck. I'm gonna put this back here real quick. I am always going to side in 10 cards. This is a 50 card deck. I'm going to side in 10 cards here in most matchups, unless I think I can get fatigued. And the first thing that I'm going to have to look at siding is blues. So if you were counting, I was at 12 blues in the main deck. In the side deck, I have 6 more blues. Okay. I'm looking to get to 15 blues in my deck. That's a little bit lower than I would normally play, but the reason for it is with Katsu, unlike other heroes, he has access to shuffling ability pretty constantly. So after just a couple turns, you shuffle your deck and you have the right number of blues in there. And early, it's just, if you have too many blues, if you're playing like an 18 blue deck thing, it's just another way that you can get into that inconsistency that we're trying to avoid. So I like playing 15. Find Center I'll play if I need a block and stuff, or if I need the Find Center combo, I'll go for that. Energy Potion. Man, this card is so good, and no one plays it. It's like Matt Rogers, I think, is the only one who plays potions. He's the only one I've ever seen puts potions in his deck, and they're good. Like, this can help you just get over the top against those control decks. And some people that say Heart and Cross Strap, you need that for the extra pitch to kind of have one big turn. But man, Energy Potion does that too. I can play 3 of them, and they can take my blue slots, and I can still get consistent value from Tunic. I like the Energy Potion. Definitely a big fan. And getting it going first is pretty incredible, just as a niche play. Flick Flack, I don't really want to block, but the value here is too good to ignore against other aggro decks. It's decks with good hit effects and things like that. I can't not play it. Here's my third Magenshi. Again, if I need to take a bunch of swings throughout the game, I know I'm not going to be able to hit with a Magenshi early on, and I just want as many tries at it as possible. Third one's going in. 2 snatches. Like I said before, I'm normally going to play the 3 snatches, but there's just times where I won't. I'll get into that in a second. Command and Conquer's value is so high. It's a 6. It can get past defense reactions. It destroys setup decks if you can get them to block out early in a combo and finish with this. So incredible. Raging Onslaught is really just for Prism. I like having the 7 on it. Yeah, to get over Herald of Triumph, Torrent of Tempo. Good one if your opponent doesn't like a block or they're bad at blocking. This can get a ton of resources out of them, or it's just going to hit and have huge value as a 5. Ravenous Rabble. So here's another 2 of, and this one is going to threaten similarly to Scar for a Scar. And just like I said earlier, Scar for a Scar is so valuable because it commits resources out of that turn no matter what they do. If they do block it, they're over blocking on this, and you can go with your normal plan. If they decide not to block with it, you can discard Search and really go for something powerful. Okay? So it can bait things out. You can play mind games. And it's in decks where I know they don't really block unless they have to. Like maybe they're mid-rangey, or if I need to just keep up consistent pressure and help with the consistency against blocking, Ravenous Rabble's good. And Exude Confidence. Great card. You're going to have to give it go again. So you're either doing that with Art of War, Snapdragon, or your Razor Reflex. So I always need to keep Snapdragon alive if I have Exude Confidence in my deck until they're gone. The reason is Exude Confidence, it works with having the threat of Snapdragon, because people think, okay, he can do it right there. He doesn't have to have a Razor Reflex or something like that. But if I play Exude Confidence just as is, and I don't have Snapdragon Scalers, I play this out, my opponent goes, okay, either he is going to buff it up with a bunch of blues, or he's going to play Razor Reflex on it. Either way, I'm going to block with all my normal cards. Okay, all my normal, 2-3 blocks that aren't defense reactions. And his turn is going to end because he can't give it go again now. And if he buffs it up, well, it's not going to do anything because I just blocked with these, right? So without the threat of Snapdragon Scalers in this deck specifically, this card is not good. So you got to always keep that if you're running them, okay? But they are great against decks that are running instants and running a bunch of defense reactions. So I do love that there. Now, if you'll notice, I have 2 ofs across the board right here. And the reason for that is the meta is wide open. There are so many different decks. I talked about at the beginning how there were 5 different decks in the top 8 in Dallas. You had a bunch of X1s, you had chains in there, and right now you need to have a little versatility in your deck. I like all of these cards. I could run with any of these cards, even a Raging Onslaught. I could run with it and be happy in a lot of matchups. So it's not like I'm really sacrificing a bunch of power here with super niche cards. but it gives me the versatility to really have two in my deck can be enough to get over the top on people. And what else? What else? Yeah, with the snatches, I did want to touch on this, that I love playing them a lot of times, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, I need to have the flick flacks because I have to block, and they're going to be setting up, so I have to have command and conquer in the deck too. 100% need those. Well, I need 3 blues in my deck too to get me up to 15. Now, I only have 1 card left. I can't. I only get to play 1 snatch, sort of thing. So I do have it as a side deck card, but I do love playing them. I'll tell you that. All right. So I think that does it for the deck itself. If you want to see this written out with a matchup guide, written specifically hero by hero, exactly what your strategy is to do against them, the exact cards to take in, put in, take out in each matchup, be sure to check out our Patreon. I'll drop the link in the description. You can check that out. And if you just have any questions, always interact with us. We love talking with everyone in the community. Ask a question. If you have any suggestions on heroes we should do next or other things we should do, or just how we can do this better, please let us know. We want to keep making improvements each day. And that's really our goal here, is just to give everyone as much value as they can. So let us know how we can do that. All right. I thought this was fun. But until next time, my name is John, and I'll see you guys.